Hey, Paul.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well enough.
Nice.
Been
How was your weekend?
ah well enough. Weekends are kind of boring at this point. Went to work, did a lot of writing, slept. It's pretty boring.
Fair. Yeah. And this is great. You got two chapters. Were these two chapters that you had written before, or did you do
Nope.
these on the weekend?
Rewrote the whole thing. Didn't like it,
Oh, good for
so I
you.
scrapped everything and rewrote it all.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like it. So is that what you did on the weekend? Was write these?
Yep.
Nicely done. And boy, I think it's. I got to say right off the top, I love this chapter is fan. The only couple there's only a couple of major suggestions that I have, and they're not even major. They're sort of medium because I think it's really engaging. This is some of the cleanest writing I've seen from you. I like it. It's really engaging. I even reading it out loud is really exciting. Detective Mark Reynolds leaned against the sleek black police car, his arms crossed and his gaze fixed on the horizon where the first glimmers of dawn painted the Los Angeles skyline. Despite having to work the swing shift, it was worth it for the beautiful sunrises over the city of angels. That's a nice, clean, tight, very well written opening paragraph.
Um,
I
I
love that.
I recently subscribed to a guy who gives advice on writing, and then I looked up the beats sheet for Law and Order episodes. So
Oh, okay, good. Well, yeah, if that works, and it
yeah,
feels clean, like it. And this is was any of this first
yeah.
opening couple of paragraphs influenced by anything?
Nothing in particular. By the way,
Yeah,
I did
cool.
not like Puck's thing as anything other than an epilogue. It does not work as a prologue. No.
Fair.
The,
No, I think that your instincts here are good. This feels like the opening of a story.
I'm gonna
And
re-release Puck's part as an epilogue of the original story. Probably gonna
cool.
edit it.
That feels really good. Um, next to him stood his partner, Detective John Cross, nursing a steaming cup of coffee against the cold morning air. John's aged face and silvery hair told his age better than any number could. Like that's good. If that's if that's you just coming in, if that's coming out of the top of your head, that's solid. It's clean. It's basically two really crisp opening paragraphs. It immediately positions me. I know where we are. I know when we are in the day. I know who's here. And I've got just a sense that there's not any big action going on. It's just a couple of guys having a coffee, looking out at the Los Angeles sunrise. That's so visual. That's such a strong visual image. I love it. This is actually, I think, one of your best openings for any chapter. So I'm really liking it a lot, Hayden. 2 weeks to retirement, and I love that you've even given a situational thing happening with the characters. Like this isn't just random talk. Like the very first things that are spoken tell us something really important about these characters. 2 weeks to retirement. What are you going to do? Hang out with the grandkids more? This is really great. I'd love to, but I'm getting old. Just I'm not going to go through anything. You can take or leave any of my suggestions about
Oh,
punctuation or those
by the way,
things.
that reminds me. I came up with a C story while we were talking about all this.
Oh, cool. Tell me.
So Mark and or John. I'm not 100% sure if I want the young cop or the old cop to be the person. But anyways, basically they're going to go and fight someone. As you probably already know, they're going to go fight one of the people who are on the magic drugs that Puck's supplying. And afterwards, one of them is going to be heavily injured. So his partner goes out, buys a health potion, and then uses it to fix their partner. And then they kind of get caught up in the paranormal. And this is another learning point for Ramona about how to create contacts in the mundane world to keep an eye out for paranormal stuff.
I like that. That's clever. I like that.
Mm.
And it's clean. Like again, and what I mean by clean again is just it's not overly complicated. It's understandable. It's engaging though at the same time. It's not simplistic. It's not boring. It's just really, really easy to understand. And I think you're communicating the idea really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing more about that C story. Um, let's see here.
It's basically just the B story from the last one.
Hmm. I love that. Only little thing here is they suddenly hear they hear where are we here flashes of gunfire. This guy's got several days left before he retired, so hearing somebody say, well, looks like retirement will have to wait, I'm like, why would it have to wait? This is just a regular, one assumes it's just a regular day. He's got several days, so this wouldn't necessarily have to shorten his retirement. um but he might say that at the end of what they go through. Him saying looks like retirement will have to wait feels like a logical thing to say after what they've just gone through with the monster, because then it's like, okay, you're obviously not retiring anytime soon. um Down here. You could take this. I'm not going to go through. You can read it at your leisure because I want to get to the stuff that's meaningful. I love your introduction of Spanish. I love that you throw that in there. Like go outside and kill these bastards. Like I think that's a great thing to have them say. You can go one of two ways. You can leave it exactly the way it is because only obviously Spanish
I should
speakers who
probably
won't.
write shouted in Spanish because I just realized if I don't, that's going to sound like gibberish.
Well, and I think you can just say an angry voice yelled something in Spanish. Mark didn't know what it was, but he knew it wasn't good, like kind of thing like that. Because only your Spanish speakers it's either gonna force English speakers to look this up, or Spanish speakers who may or may not speak English won't be reading this anyway. So you can leave it or not, unless what you're trying to do is just throw some Spanish in there for fun. Either way, it's not a major thing. Only two real notes. I would love to encourage you to go a little deeper with your description of the monster. Um, and because what ends up happening is when we first see the monster, there's actually virtually no description of the monster except that he's tall and massive and resembles a patchwork wall of pink and green. I know description comes later, but by then I'm like, what am I looking at? I don't know what I'm looking at here. Emerging from the rubble, a colossal monstrosity revealed itself. I'm not even 100% sure that that's a creature of some kind. I'm like, colossal monstrosity. Is it a big like mountain growing out of the sky and it looks monstrous? It's just non-specific enough that I wasn't sure what it was talking about.
So move the paragraph below up one. Swap the
Yeah, and I
paragraphs
would,
around.
and I want to see like say that it's humanoid. Like a monstrosity could be it could be a four-legged creature with five heads. I don't know enough about it, but if it's humanoid, which it clearly is because it's got a big heart on and a big belly and it's clearly humanoid. That's all. Is just sort of describe it a little in a little more specific detail. So it's like, oh, I want to get it. You've done such a beautiful job up here of creating a visual sense of what's specifically what I'm looking at. I'm looking at two cops staring out at the sunrise of LA, having a coffee. It's so visual. And then I came down to the monstrosity. It was just vague enough that I wasn't 100% sure. What am I looking at? So I would just give it a little more because you're so good with that description. Once I know what they're fighting, it's good. So they have this big long fight with this monster. This is great. I love it. It's grisly. It's you at your best. You do these scenes very, very well. And the only thing about the end is that it felt like it was a chapter that hadn't ended yet. Because it's
Yeah.
like they beat this thing, then they haven't beat him. And what the hell is this?
I wasn't really sure what
Felt,
else to add because I kind of want to end it. I wasn't really sure. Like I kind of got there and I'm like, I'm not sure really what else to write.
well, because you're still mid battle. The monster still attacking these. It looks like they got the monster, and then he comes back and he's
Maybe I should just kill it and be done with it.
I would end it and then I would bring that line down. He's like, "What the hell was that?" Mark wondered. I don't know, but it looks like it looks like you're going to have to put off retirement. That's where that line belongs. It's like right at the end. Um, and then you've got a boomity boom boom kind of thing like that. Great chapter. Great chapter. I love this. And it was short and sweet and to the point. Um, but it does beg the question, what? Because it seems so like it feels like this is the normal world that we're used to, and suddenly a monster comes out, and it feels like it needs a little bit more, like not just more of the battle with the monster, but like I'm assuming these cops. So let me ask a question: have these cops ever seen anything
No.
like this before? Okay, so that's the reaction I'm looking at, rather than what the hell is this? I felt like I wanted to see Mark and John sort of,
Well,
walk up to the
John's
corpse.
currently like unconscious at this point with like a shattered leg and multiple broken bones.
Perfect. So I'd love to see Mark walk up to it and sort of, like one suggestion. He walks up to this thing. It says, Mark looked at it from head to toe, like wondering what the hell he was looking at. And then he looked over, and then one other cop or something comes up and says, well, it looks like you're not going to retire after all, or whatever. It is Mark that's retiring, right?
No, it's John. He's the
John.
one. He's the one that just got brutalized.
Okay. Um, I wouldn't mind it if Mark was the one. Like the joke, the thing that's screaming to be at the end of this thing is it important that John be the one retiring and not Mark,
No.
or that John be unconscious? Because the
Well, I
Badoom.
think. Well, the whole point of one of them being unconscious is that one of them has to go out, get a health potion, and then feed it to his partner. Like, go out, get illegal drugs, and use it on his partner to save his life, quote unquote.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it doesn't. You don't have to have the. I guess you'll have to put off retirement thing at the end. But if you did, I would have that guy still conscious and have some other cop come up and say it, because that's a
So you
perfect.
think the old guy should be the one to survive?
Please. Like that's interesting to me, because the stereotype, the cliche is that the old guy gets hurt. Imagine if the old you're so good at giving us the unexpected. But again, don't have to play it that way, but you start this chapter off with a whole wonderful sort of two buddies talking about retirement. And it begs wanting to end the chapter sort of referencing that again. Where is John here? Let me just see. Mark could barely hear them. He scrambled over. Is John gonna? Oh no, you're saying that Mark is gonna get a potion to heal John. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, whoever's
Okay.
injured, the non-injured party will be inspired to go out and get a health potion for his partner after he discovers the miraculous healing properties.
See, what I thought was going to happen. Now you have to do this with some other creature after he defeats the monster. Some other creature comes out and says, "Don't worry, your friend will be okay. I can show you the healing." And Mark looks at him and then at the monster and goes, "Who the hell are you guys?" Or like it sounds like what the story is the sudden intrusion of the supernatural world into our world, sort of like what you did in the beginning of the previous thing. So if the shock here is supposed to be Mark and John and whoever else is present going, "What's this thing?" I would amplify that however you can. Um, I love this. Yeah. So it's just the ending felt like it needed a little more of a. It doesn't feel like a chapter ending. It feels like a chapter almost ending, and it's like because it doesn't wrap up. And killing the monster and having Mark react to like amplifying. What the hell is this? I didn't know what he meant. Like, is he? Does he mean the monster? Or does he mean the situation? Or does he mean? So I think as long as we're specific enough and we see him looking at rather, because it says in an instant, the officer jumped back and opened fire as the monster started to eat the officer. It ripped in half. It feels like Mark wouldn't be going, "What the hell is this?" He would be thinking, "Oh my God, a monster just ripped one of my buddies in half." Instead, it's like, "What the hell is this?" It sounds like like a punchline from a film. Um, so it feels like his reaction doesn't feel equal to what he and we are looking at. So I would either double down, kill the monster, and have him go, because his whole day just changed. His whole day just changed in a matter of, I'm guessing, 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
He went from drinking a coffee, looking at the beautiful sunrise, and I might even throw that in here. He says, he looked up at the sky as the sun was rising. The sky a blood red. Like you've got a blood red sky happening behind all of this. Feel free to grab and take advantage of the scenery that you've got around there. That's just begging to be included. Um, that's it. That's my feedback for that.
Okay.
I liked it. And that did occupy the full 30 minutes. So I'll read the other one for next week. Is the chapter Painful Truths? Do you want me to read this version of it for next week, or do you want to send me a new one?
I don't think so. I think this is okay.
I can go ahead and read that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to change anything really. Yeah.
Really great start to this Hayden. This was super, like I was just like, it was like reading a really, really smooth read. I loved it.
Okay, I don't think I'm going to bring you back. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to bring back the prologue next week, so, be prepared for that. Because I think I'm mostly happy with it. It was mostly the ending I was concerned about. Side note, I think going forward, I'm going to add some more vulgarity into it.
Great. Okay.
Something I initially wanted to do in the first book, but I kind of censored myself a little to try and get to a better audience. But then I realized, well, if I'm gonna basically whitewash the whole thing, then it'll just come out as bland. So it's better to just to be in your face with it and try and get more interested fans than just a bunch of passive people.
That's totally fair. I can appreciate that. Yeah. Okay, let me just see here. We're gonna go for. Okay, why isn't that showing up? Oh, there we go. Okay. Teaching. Where is Hayden? There we go. My Hayden Bennett file. There we go. Okay, perfect. Hulking out. Great. Love that. So notes attached. So I'll send you this and I'll get through the other chapter. If you do, I will probably look at the chapter on Sunday. So if you do have any changes, just to give you a little room in case you're like, no, I definitely want to make some changes. Let me know if you can by Sunday.
I'll probably send you a new copy. If for nothing else, I'll send you a redone. I might just give it a little check to see if there's any grammatical crap or something.
Okay.
But after that, I'll probably just send you an additional copy of Chapter 2 as well.
Okay, great
I'm
stuff.
really trying to stay ahead of you this time.
Oh, you're doing a great job. You're easily my most
Yeah,
prolific student. It's
because
crazy. You're
it took
always
it
writing.
took us a year to write the first one, so I want to try and get that down to preferably,
Less than that.
well, ideally about 3 months would be ideal for like pumping out books, but like six would probably
Yeah.
be mostly acceptable.
Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, I say that because my
Oh,
favorite authors tend to go year long, five pa- five five pa- 5 entries a week every week forever.
oh, is that right?
Yeah, I can do about 2 chapters worth of material if I go out to McDonald's and just spend all day writing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds good, Hayden. Well, best of luck, and I'll get the
Okay.
notes to you here right away.
Best of luck. Have a great time, Paul. See,
Thank you. Yeah, you
see you
too.
soon. Bye.
Bye bye.